blue. Yeah.
Ah. All right.
All right.
After a
now,
few years, I'm finally figuring this out.
Finally getting it done. It says excellent connection.
But it won't in a minute. Hello, everybody.
Right.
It's Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead on a special 10-year.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I still ain't got it right. Pop-out chat's not here yet.
We'll get it. Don't worry about it. We'll get there.
So let's see if anybody decides to pop in on our.
Yeah.
I got to move over close, like 10 years separating us.
You got to pretend anyway, okay?
It's not our anniversary.
No, it's not our anniversary, but
it is the anniversary of when
we met.
Well, no, not yet.
Well, we got like a couple of weeks.
We actually started talking 10 years ago this week.
Yeah. Talking
on the phone.
On the phone. Never met one another face to face.
So the story is, for those of you that don't know, Danny and I both have lived really different lives.
Totally different lives.
And I was living in Hattiesburg, which was a town north of here. And I was in an apartment by myself and got on Christian Mingle to see if I could meet somebody that wasn't a bum. And I met Danny the first week, but I messaged him and he said, I live with my mom and dad and I help take care of my disabled brother. That was his first message to me.
That was my first message to her. I just said I'm staying with my mom and dad,
which meant living.
And I'm taking care of my disabled brother who's paralyzed.
And so I didn't talk to him for another
that's a while.
A week or two.
Yeah.
This was the 1st of March, and later, after about 2.5 weeks on Christian Mingle, I figured that was not for me because it's like being on a...
It's like running cattle through a stall at a stockyard.
And you're trying to pick out one. And so I messaged him and 2 or 3 others and said, look, I'm getting off. Here's my number. If you want to call me, we'll talk, but this is crazy. I don't like this. And so a whole week went by and not heard from anybody. So this was probably this week, 10 years ago, and I went out to a lake close by and just went out to the beach, threw my blanket out and said, God, what do you want? What do you want me to do? I don't know. I was at the bottom of the bottom. I'm like, everything in my life seemed to be falling apart and I didn't know how to handle it all. And I was going, I don't know. I'm not going to date just anybody. And was really not even wanting to trust me, to be honest.
Well, she wasn't looking to get married.
No, I just wanted somebody to talk to and somebody just to
go out and have a meal with. And,
just have some companionship. I didn't want a relationship. I just wanted a friend because most of my friends were married and they all went out and done their thing. And if I ever went, I was a third wheel.
Yeah.
So I was out at the lake and I was getting ready to leave. My girls kept calling, Mom, what are you doing? Mom, you're going to get your killing out there. It's March. There's nobody out there. Mom, you need to leave now. And so after about 3 hours of them bugging me on the phone, I was packing up, getting ready to leave, and was throwing things in my car. My phone rings again, and I go, yeah, because I thought it was my girls. And Danny said,
I said, hey, girl.
And I was like, okay, this ain't my girls. So you want to tell them why you called?
Well, I had got tired of being on Christian Mingle. I was fed up with it because 99% of the lady folks that I was trying to talk to turned out to not be really Christians. They were just people.
Exactly.
They were just people on there looking for a relationship, not necessarily the right kind of relationship, you know?
Exactly.
And I just come out of a relationship where my wife had passed away, and I was living by myself here, and my mom had told me, she said, son, look, your dad's falling a lot, and I can't drive because I've had a stroke, and your brother's paralyzed, he's here, we have no way to go to town or anything. Says, do you mind coming out here and just staying with us? And helping out some? Because you're by yourself now. It's not like you're obligated to anybody. I said, Mom, I got a farm out here. I got animals and everything. And she says, well, you can go back and forth. I said, well, I don't have a job. I shut down all my companies to take care of my wife the last year or two of her life, to, you know, to just be there for her, because you marry them for better or for worse. And I actually shut my companies down. And I had no income. So I told Mom, I said, Mom, I can't be jumping back and forth because I don't have any income anymore. And cancer basically, even though I had a huge savings, it bankrupted me.
It took it all.
It took every bit of it, taking care of her. And I don't regret that. But, you know, I was out there and I was at my wit's end because I'm just not happy. I mean, the Bible says it's not good that a man be alone. And I wasn't happy. And I said, Lord, I'm 50-something years old, and I hadn't dated in forever. I don't know what people do.
Me either. I had no clue.
I have no clue what to do or where to go. And at that point, I was having a lot of physical issues, and I didn't really do a lot of driving. I had pretty much stopped any out-of-town driving at that time. And I just, Ms. Wanda's profile popped up on my phone and that phone number, and I kept going back to about a week or so there. I just kept going back looking at that going, do I call this woman or not? You know? I said, and that was on a Saturday, and I said, well, we had to go to church the next day, so I went ahead and went to church and went down to the altar and prayed, and I said, Lord, look, if I don't know what to do, you know, I don't know what to do. And I said, I'm lonely. I don't know if it's right, if I should remarry, if I should just, I said, I really just want somebody to just hang out with and just have a good time with right now, because I don't want to jump back into something.
And that's the same Sunday that I went down to the altar of my church and said, God, if you want me to date again, you send me somebody, because I had not dated in 30-something years. I didn't know what dating was. And the guys I talked to, they didn't want to date, you know. They wanted a physical relationship, and that was it. And I'm like, this ain't what I want. I come out of an abusive marriage, and I wasn't very trusting. And Danny can tell you I wasn't very trusting. So we both were at the altar the same Sunday, different churches in two different towns. Two different
towns. And then, you know, after that, I kept looking at her profile picture all week, and I kept praying about it. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm just going to call this lady and just see, you know, if it's real, or, you know, if it's something God wants. Because I said, Lord, you got to bring her. I said, this would be my.
He had a bucket list.
I had a bucket list, you know, and I said, Lord, my first wife, I was with her for 20 years, went through a divorce. I married again. My second wife passed away. I said, I don't have a good track record right now. I said, so whatever you do or want from me, you've got to provide this woman for me. I'm not going to her. She's got to come to me. And I just made me a bucket list.
And I didn't know about his bucket list.
Nope.
And so when we were talking the first day, I did not know. I lived in Hattiesburg. He lived in Wiggins. He didn't tell me Wiggins. I knew where Wiggins was. He told me he lived in Perkinston, which was outside of Wiggins, but I didn't know these little dinky country things,
little
you know.
Communities, yeah.
And so we were talking, and I sat there in my car for maybe 30 minutes talking to him, and I said, well, I've got to get back to my apartment. I said, I'm leaving Paul B. Johnson's now and headed to my apartment. Well, he didn't tell me I was halfway between where my apartment was and his house.
Right.
I was like, you know, whatever.
She was about 25, 30 minutes from me.
So I went on back to my apartment and got there, and we talked for, what, 5 or 6 hours?
We talked about 5 or 6 hours that night, yeah.
And then I was in college. So every day I'd go to the college. I worked there, plus I was taking classes. I would go there, and when I'd get off every afternoon, he and I talked for hours for 2 weeks.
See, on a phone, I'm wise enough and old enough to know that on a phone, you'll ask questions that you won't ask face to face with someone. And I was very rigid. You know, I was like, you know, I said, if I'm going to do this again, I've got to know 100%. Because the last relationship I come out of, it wasn't, I wasn't like her. I didn't come out of a relationship in a bad situation. My spouse died. And I was like, I didn't fall out of love or anything like this. And I wasn't abusive, you know, anything, nothing like that. Wanda come out of an abusive relationship. She was very untrusting. I was unsure about anything.
And basically, Danny was still in love with his previous wife, Debbie.
Yeah.
Because he never fell out of love with her. I mean, she passed away. That's a little different situation than mine.
Yes.
So we had two opposite things going on. Lots of people divorce and then get together with somebody else who has divorced.
Right.
And that seems to be an easier relationship. In our relationship, we still had a third person that really wasn't here.
There wasn't even there.
And that took us probably 2 years.
About 2 years to get beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I'll be honest to say, most females would not have done it. You know?
Well, Danny and I talked for 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, I finally one day I said, look, are you coming here to see me? He said, no, I don't drive. I'm not driving out of town. I've had so many health issues. He said, I'm afraid to drive out of town right now. And I said, well, you tell me where I can meet you and I will come there. And he goes, really? I said, yeah, give me an address. And I said, that weekend was the weekend my friend had surgery, right?
Yeah, she's had it that weekend.
She had it like Friday. And so Saturday I had to go to the college for something, I think. That was the day I had to be at the college doing some things. And I told him, I said, I'll leave the college, I'll come out there. And so I came out and met him that day. And he was shocked as all get out because he wasn't expecting a woman to come driving up.
Right.
One of your bucket list was?
Well, I mean, one of my bucket list was, I mean, the female had to come to me.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. He didn't tell me that.
She had to come to me because I had to know it was from God. And then when Wanda walked into to my dining room, her eyes just started cheering up and everything, and we hadn't met 10 minutes less. And I'm like, oh Lord, what has happened here? I was like, this is not good. You know, I mean, when a woman walks in your house and she just starts crying, something's wrong. You know, I mean, that was my take on it. But little did I know that the tears that she was expressing was the simple fact that when she walked into that dining room, it took her breath.
I had always wanted a room with bay windows. Always. And my ex was a carpenter. He could have built it any time, any amount, but he never would. He didn't do things according to what I wanted. He did according to what he wanted to do. And so when I walked in and saw that room, I was flabbergasted. I was like, this is what I've always wanted. Now, not only that, the dining room, but the office we're sitting in now has the bay
windows. Well, you have to understand, my house is, I designed it myself and built it. It's a country Victorian. The dining room was designed off of Thomas Jefferson's home. The office was designed off like what you would call a parlor in one of the old Victorian homes. And it creates an atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, when you come in here, it creates an atmosphere. It's a pleasant place to work. I mean, the office looks commercial in some ways, and then other ways it doesn't.
And it looks junked up because I got stuff everywhere.
There's one that's got stuff everywhere, but because of technology, I mean, we've got mixing boards over here with headphone sets. We got cameras, lights. I mean, you know, all types of printers, labelers, computers. You know, all types of books and literature, seeds from where we save seeds at. We have a seed cabinet in here and everything, and it's just it's a half modern and half not modern office, I guess you would say.
And so Danny never told me about his house.
No,
his
I
land,
refused to tell a woman anything
like
about
that.
me. I was told her, I says, I own a home. That's all I told her.
Yeah, and I never really asked questions because most of the people I knew that owned homes were travel trailers, camper trailers, mobile homes. They might have a house, but it was an old house because most of them had been through divorces and they were living with whatever means they had at the time. And so in my mind, I didn't think very much about a house. He told me he had a house because in the talking he explained about Debbie, and I knew about Becky, his first wife, and we talked about everything in the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
Literally everything. My background, his background.
Yeah.
He knew where I came from. I knew where he came from. He just didn't explain the house. You did send a couple of pictures, I think, but the way he took the pictures, I couldn't tell. I knew it had a front porch, and I knew what the colors were in one of the rooms.
I strategically took
pictures. He took a couple of pictures, and I'm like, wow. So at least he has a house, you know. And I wasn't after that. I wasn't even after marrying anybody.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, not even. And so I came out. We had a meal. We got together. We talked that evening for a long time.
We did. We sat and talked for a while that afternoon.
He knew that I was stressed to the nth because of everything that was going on in my life between marriage, divorce, church, job, school, kids, the whole 9 yards. It's like everything was coming together. And I think I actually sat on your couch while you were doing something in the kitchen. I think he was cooking.
I was, well.
You went in and cooked or heated something up.
I was heating something up, yeah.
And I went to sleep.
I went in there and she was sound asleep on the couch.
And when I woke up, I was at this man's house I just met, and I had went to sleep. That's how exhausted I was. The doctor had wanted to put me on iron tablets, and I told him about that. And on iron, what do you call it? Transfusions.
Yeah.
Blood transfusions.
Blood transfusions because your iron was so low, yeah.
So I didn't see him again for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks. Yeah, it was.
We talked, and I left. I had to get back to my friend who was in the hospital, and y'all, we talked another 2 weeks every night. I don't think there's anything we didn't know.
I think we pretty much, well, there's probably a few things about myself I didn't tell her because, I mean, I didn't tell her.
Yeah, but I mean, 99%.
90% of everything about me I had told her, you know, because I wanted everything up front to be out and open. I didn't want anything, you know, I mean, there's a few personal things that I didn't just talk about, but other than that, we pretty
most
everything we talked about, yeah.
And so after about 2 weeks, I'm like, are you coming here? And he said, nope. I told you I don't drive. I said, well, that's fine. I'm not coming there either. I said, I don't play this I go to the guy thing. I said, I come the first time to meet you. I said, after that, it's up to you if you want to date me. You got to come like guy take a girl out type stuff.
Yeah.
And so he wallered on that one for a couple of days.
Yeah, I thought on it because I said, man, my health, I'm not supposed to be driving. They was going to take my keys away from me. I was like, do I do this or do I not do it? Because it was like an hour and something drive. And I was like, I said, do I do this? Take the risk? Do I do it? And then finally, I told her, I said, you know what? I told myself, I said, I don't care what happens. I'm just going to do it. You know? I said, I'm not backing down. I'm just doing it. You know? And I knew where she was at because I had worked all over that whole place up there.
Yeah.
And I knew right where she was.
The day he was supposed to come was a Saturday. And we had a women's thing at our church.
Yes.
And so the two ladies that I had worked with for 4 years, and I went to a women's thing. One of them had just had heart surgery, and the other one lived close to her. So I picked both of them up and took them with me to the ladies' outing that we had. And I told him, I said, I will be back at my apartment by 12. We can go eat out for an afternoon or whatever, do an afternoon meal. Well, at 12 o'clock, I was watching the clock. I thought it would be over, and it wasn't over. And I'm like, oh, no. So I looked, we were getting close, and I looked at my friends. I said, look, I got to go. This guy's going to be at my house. And I said, I don't want to stand somebody up. So we kind of eased out, And I'm like, I got to take them home. And it's going to take me another 15, 20 minutes with traffic because we were in a big town.
Yeah.
And I said, y'all just going to have to hold on. I got to whip by, pick him up, and then we going to go drop y'all off. Danny got the ride of his life with them two ladies.
I'll tell you something. I didn't know nobody. I only met Wanda once, and here I am in a car with 3 women. I have no clue who the other 2 are. But me, I'm the kind of person that, hey, I can blend in anywhere, and I just jumped right in there with them. You know, I'm like, hey, let's just do this. You know, and actually turned out to be actually become real good friends with them.
Yeah. And one of my friends since has passed away. The other one, she and her husband still live in the town, and they've been out here a couple of times. They actually went with us to one of our things we had, and so I'm really pleased with them. They've always been my best friends, both her and her husband.
Yeah.
And after that, we started dating pretty regular, and we decided this was April, the end of April.
It's the end of April.
And in May, he said, look, why don't we get married? And I'm like, still waiting on that divorce paper that hadn't come through. I've been for 3 years been trying to get my divorce, and I had finally gotten the date, no, I didn't have the date. I was waiting on the date.
He was waiting on the date.
And the lawyer told me it would have been in the end of April. Well, here it was the 1st of May, and the date wasn't set. And so I called him and asked, and he says, we've got to wait 6 weeks.
We got to run it in the paper for another 6 weeks.
I was furious, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I waited. I had been by myself for 5 years and been trying for 3 to get a divorce. And so my ex was fighting it. So if, a lot of you been through that. And so we waited, and we got married July the...
Come on.
19th.
19th.
I would get it here.
I won't ever forget it.
But we have a lot of things going on in July that drives...
July is one of those love-hate months for me. We got married on the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday is on the 24th. My wife passed away on the 27th. Yeah. So it was kind of a love-hate month for me. And even now, I mean, I focus as much as I can on our anniversary. I don't care about my birthday. I've never cared about my birthday. That's something He's
not a big birthday.
I'm not a birthday person. I never have been. And it don't mean anything to me. It just means I'm getting older. But my birthday, I try not to even think about. I try to focus mainly on our anniversary and try to just forget the rest of the month. You know what I mean?
And so when we got married, Danny had this house, and it was paid for.
Yeah.
He was working with his brother, doing odd jobs, taking on small contracts that he could handle.
Yeah.
And things like that, because he had messed his neck up.
Yeah.
I was still in school, and I traveled back and forth to finish I finished right before we married. And I was going back the next fall, and I did go back the next fall, but I did not get my degree because I finally decided it wasn't worth it. I could stay here and do things and not have to have a career and leave here every day, because one thing I'd always wanted was a place with fruit trees and herbs and vegetables and just peace and tranquility. And when I came out here, Danny had it all on this place. And I just felt like this was it.
Well, I'm all about math, okay? And I am so frugal in lots of ways it ain't even funny. I started doing the math, and I told Wanda, I said, by the time you buy gas to drive where you got to drive, buy the clothes it takes to be there, keep the insurance up on a vehicle to go there, buy your meals to eat out, stuff like this. I said, at the end of the month, we figured it all, I figured it all up, and I told her, I says, the best income you're going to get is this with that type of an education. And at the end of a month, she was only going to bring home like $147 or $157 a week. And I told her, I said, "You going to work 40 hours for $147 or $150 I said,
gone.
And be gone all the time?
Yeah.
From daylight to dark almost?" And I said,
well, the deal is I would have had to drove 30 minutes one way, either to the coast or back to Hattiesburg to drive because of where we live. It's a 30-minute drive either way. That's without.
Well, it's 45 to Hattiesburg, 30 to the coast.
Yeah, without traffic.
That's without traffic. Yeah.
Now, if there's an early morning getting to work, there's a lot of traffic, so I would have had to left early. So I would have spent a lot of time on the road, worked and come back. So we decided that wasn't feasible. Plus, he ended up. Something happened your neck. We thought he was going to have surgery.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. It finally healed itself enough that he could do what he needed to do. And we just lived on veggies that he already had canned in the freezer. I mean, this man had a stash. It was stocked out here. He kept everything stocked. He and Debbie were preppers.
We were preppers. We weren't homesteaders. We were preppers.
Yeah, that he was in that prepper mentality like everybody else in the 2000s, the early 2000s. And so Debbie couponed, and she bought all kinds of stuff, and she had stuff stashed. And for the first 2 years, I don't think I bought a whole lot of extra things, not food and stuff either. Well, not even food because
we didn't buy no
you
food.
had canned foods and stuff.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yes, thank you. The real Zooch. And so we didn't have to leave here very often, except when he needed to work or something like that. We ran out and took his mom to town and would buy her groceries and his brother's groceries and deliver all them. We'd buy our groceries. And sometimes we wouldn't go to town but once a month.
Yeah.
For the first almost 2 years.
About the first 2 years, we went to town just once a month. Yeah.
And
we just lived off of what we had stocked up here.
We had very little bills. We could make it on.
Our bills, we figured
$300 or $400 a month.
Between $300 and $400 a month was our bills. That included gas. I mean, electric bills.
We cut everything down.
We cut everything down because neither one of us had a job. Except for me, occasionally I would go do some wiring or wire somebody's house or...
You built some cabinets.
I built some cabinets or I would lay tile.
We remodeled a neighbor's house.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of things that we
picked blueberries.
We picked blueberries. Yes.
Oh, gosh.
The first year we had just gotten married and his mom says, she looked at me and she said, "Y'all gonna pick blueberries this year?" And I told Danny, I said, "I've never picked blueberries in my life. I mean, I picked a handful off a tree a few times, but other than that." And she goes, "No, we have 100 trees." And she said, "You'll pick gallons a day."
Yeah.
And I told Danny, I said, "That's the only way we got to make money, then let's pick blueberries." I did not realize we were going to be picking 20, 25 gallons of blueberries a day, just the two of us. And we did that for 3 summers, I think. And that's how we paid our taxes. We stuck up our power money and things like that we knew we had to have. Kind of the Dave Ramsey thing on minute levels, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we had the taxes paid and our power and telephone all stuck up for the year. And then what little bit we made, thank you, Janet.
Thank you, Janet.
What little bit we made doing anything would go toward any extras we needed, gas or whatever. His truck was paid for. We had sold our car, my car.
We sold her car,
because I wasn't going anywhere. I mean, there was no purpose in paying that bill.
It's just another bill to pay.
And
more insurance.
Then the telephone bill. The
internet
and telephone.
The internet. We kept looking at each other, and I had internet at the time. It was DSL through AT&T, and it just kept going up every month, and we wasn't doing anything. And
we had budgeted only X amount of dollars.
Yeah. We just had X number of dollars budgeted for the internet, and I told her, I said, "Wanda," I said, "we're going to have to cut this out."
It doubled in 1 year.
One year it doubled from 50 to 90 something dollars. We might as well say it doubled.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, Wanda, we're going to have to cut this internet out. I said, if we can't come up with a way, I'm the kind of person that when you do something, it has to pay for itself. You know, you can't just go spend money. You know, and just not with me. You can't just go spend money.
And we weren't using the internet for anything,
right.
Basically. It was here. I kept up with my kids and stuff on Facebook, but to pay $90 a month was ridiculous for us just to message people
right.
and stuff like that. And he goes, we've really got to cut this internet off. We can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I won't be able to keep up with the kids, and I can't see what they're doing and all this. And I said, we've got to have a way. And we had started Bluebird Farm over on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
And we had thought about doing some classes here. And in the meantime, we had a neighbor tell us, hey, why don't you try YouTube? Have you ever thought about it? So I didn't know anything about YouTube. Danny had looked at videos on YouTube, never even created an account.
No, I never created an account. I just watched videos. Yeah.
And so he went in and he started looking at it, and he goes, look, if we can make videos and put them up, even if it just makes the $50 we need a month or whatever, 100.
We said,
it was up to 100.
I said, if we're going to keep the internet, then we got to
figure. Because they had a $100 limit.
They had a $100 limit. We said, we've got to be able to have whatever, the internet has got to make us $100 a month.
Yeah, and at that time, YouTube wouldn't send you a check unless you made $100. I think that's what it was. And I told Danny, I said, well, I don't want to be in videos. I said, I will.
Yeah, Wanda wouldn't be.
I will take the camera and video you, and I'll put them up. And he had to do all the editing and everything. I wouldn't even touch that.
You know, I was used to public speaking because I'd been a public speaker for years, and I told her, I said, look, I'll do it. I said, I'll just do it. I said, if we fail, hey, we just fail. You know, I said, we'll just get rid of the internet. And so that, in a nutshell, is how we. Well, and not only that, let me go back. The church that we was at, we were trying our best to find a mission for us because we wanted to serve the Lord. She wanted to serve the Lord. I was a previous minister. I wanted to serve the Lord. After having gone through divorces and stuff like that, I wasn't able to be a pastor anymore. So I knew I could be an evangelist, but I couldn't be a pastor. And I said I felt bad because the Lord had called me, and I wanted to serve the Lord in some capacity. I had been teachers. I'd been all this stuff. I couldn't be a deacon anymore. I couldn't be any of that stuff. So we started looking for a mission. And all the churches want to do is send you to Nicaragua or Honduras or China. Or
if you mentioned missions, that's what it was. I was used to, all my life I had been either a Sunday school teacher, a Bible school teacher, or administrator. I had a singing group at the church. My teenage group sang. I played the piano, was in the choir. I mean, I was always in church all the time. And I thought, you know, we need something. We need a mission. We need something we can do. And when we hit YouTube, Danny's first thought was, okay, it's business, business, business.
Yeah, because I'm strictly a business person.
He said, we don't talk about religion and we don't talk about politics. So for the first few videos, he was strictly teaching, straight face, no laugh, no nothing, just teach. And it was boring as heck. Just saying. Yeah,
people keep sending messages that says, can Danny smile? Is it possible for him to smile or laugh or anything? And my background, laughing is not part of my background. It's not the way I was taught and trained and stuff. I mean, you got to be serious all the time.
The first few videos, he was that way, and I was the type person that when I signed up for Deep South Homestead and made the channel, I put, we are the Mississippi Hospitality Homestead. And any of the YouTubers that contacted me, I went to talking to them because Danny said, look, maybe since you're out here isolated, this will give you an opportunity to meet ladies that are like-minded, and you can get to know them, even though it's going to be YouTube. Maybe y'all can FaceTime or something, or Zoom or whatever, and talk. And so I did. I met, right off the bat, we met Dirt Patch Heaven.
Yeah.
Life.
Eric from Life Done Free.
Nope. No, Life Done Freeze Tag.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's Tag. I'm sorry.
Eric
from
Life and Farmland.
Life and Farmland. Okay.
We also met Tangi, the caver's
Oh,
wife.
the caver's wife. Yeah.
Let's see who else.
The other lady.
Yes, they changed their channels, y'all.
That's what they say. They
Tangi,
changed.
the caver's wife, and I can see her face, and I can't because she changed her title.
She changed her name.
Frugal Family Foods. What was?
Anyways, yeah.
I got to meet those. Then we met Scratch Made Homestead. Danny and Leslie. Contacted us. They were our first visitors, I believe, here.
They were our first visitors.
And
here.
They've been here several times. They live in a state across from us in Alabama. And from there, we've met so many wonderful people in YouTube. Lots of YouTubers and lots of people that just are subs have been to our house. For the first few years, up until the C19 happened.
Well, we met Miss Lippy this way.
We met Lippy this way. Yes, we did.
Miss Lippy was us on here tonight. Was Googling green beans, and I popped up, and from there, it's just history.
I met Lou Just Lou.
Yep, Lou Just Lou.
I got to meet her.
But gosh, there's so many people. I mean, we actually met most every.
Well, at one time we had a gathering, and on a Saturday before the gathering was on Sunday, we had over 65 people here, and most of them were YouTubers, like Living on a Dime, Goshen Prepping,
Doug from Stacy,
Doug from Off-Grid, and Doug and Stacy, just Doug. Stacy didn't come. We had
Dirt Patch Heaven, Freedom Makers. I'm sitting here. I got the board right here in front of me.
Oh, we got the board in front of. We got a board there by the side.
I got a board over there.
Southern Arc Homestead.
Southern Arc Homestead. I see that.
We had JM at the Nut House. We had Sheila from
Quake Lake. Yeah.
Scratch Made Homestead was here.
It's too far for my eyes to read them.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
But anyway, there was 65 YouTubers.
Lots and lots of YouTubers here.
We've actually, Daniel Arms from Arms Family's been here.
Old Alabama Gardener.
Old Alabama Gardener's been here.
I'm trying to think who all's been.
Gosh, he doesn't. He's from Meridian. The one we left our vehicle at his house.
Jared. See, the names just go away.
The name when you're not doing it all the time. Anyway, Jared came here and visited, him and his wife.
J&J Acres.
Yeah, J&J Acres.
Then we started doing live streams because of Brad at Big Family Homestead.
Yep.
Danny and Brad talked off and on, and Brad says, "Look, Danny, I'm thinking of doing this live stream."
David the Good.
Yeah, David the Good's been here. Brad wanted to call it the Homestead Network, and he wanted to set up different live streams on different nights where people would know that Deep South Homestead.
No Insanity signed that board too.
Yeah, where Deep South Homestead was on Saturday night at 8 o'clock every Saturday night, kind of like a TV program. So first off, Big Family Homestead started. He had, I can't remember who all started with him.
We had Big Bear Homestead.
But the originals
was us, him. We eventually brought
Homesteadonomics. He was on there for a while.
Joe from Homesteadonomics out of Arizona out there.
It's hard to remember y'all off the top of our heads.
Gosh, it's been so many years ago.
It's been more than 5 years ago, right at 5. But anyway, Brad started this, and we became a part of the network. And we always did Saturdays at 8 o'clock. We've always done Saturdays at 8 o'clock until a couple of months ago, and we changed the time to 7 o'clock Central Time. That helped us. Now we may be going back.
Tommy from Off Grid Nation.
Off Grid Nation, that was it.
Yep.
And Tommy and Ethan came here and stayed a week.
They stayed a week with us, and then we had
a blast with them.
Then we had Adrian and his kids came.
Yeah, we held a contest where people could send in a letter explaining why they would want to spend a week at Deep South Homestead. And we had several people apply And
Donnie's been here. Him and his wife.
Oh yeah.
Prep for Eternity.
Prep for Eternity's been here. Yeah.
Yes.
Lou's been
Two family
here.
homestead.
Yeah, 2 family homestead.
Ms. Elizabeth from New York.
B lady.
B lady.
B lady Apparari.
I
can't even
I
say.
can't even say it anyway.
Anyways, B lady.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we had I'm trying to think. You got me off track.
Well, I mean, we've had.
Oh, but anyway, we did the letters, and we wanted to give somebody a week at Deep South Homestead because we kept having people say, look, I want to come spend time. I want to know what you know. I want to just sit down with you. And we had several people, different couples, different single people want to come. But
Yeah.
one letter stood out, and it was Ethan, right? It was
No. Adrian's son.
Ethan.
Is it
Ethan's
Ethan?
the younger one.
Well, Ethan's also Tommy's.
Oh, that's right. Christopher.
Christopher, because I kept
Okay.
saying it's your grandson's
Yeah,
name, and I kept saying
that's
that's not.
it.
It wasn't Ethan.
So
Ethan's my
Adrian-
grandson's.
Adrian and Christopher. Adrian sent the letter
Yeah.
express mail.
Yes.
And when I opened it, I told Danny, I said, this is a 13-year-old. Went to his dad. He saw our live stream, and he went to his dad and said, Dad, send a letter. I want to go to Deep South.
Yeah.
And so that just moved us. And so we contacted Adrian, and we said, look, now, we can't just take your kid. He says, oh, no, I'm coming with him. And we said, okay. So Adrian and Christopher came, and we had a blast. It was a fun-filled week with those two. And they've been back since, came and visited, and they brought the younger one, which I think his name is Ethan.
Yeah.
That's where the name was coming in. Brought him with them, so I had Christopher,
Thank you,
Ethan,
Deborah.
and Adrian 1 week,
Yep.
a year or two later.
Left his wife at the reservoir sleeping in a tent, I think.
He did.
He did, with
But
the-
she
with the
came
other
out with
kid.
the other kids.
Yeah, she came with the other kids later. Yeah.
So we've had a lot of people show up. We've had a lot of fun over the years.
Yeah.
And
Miss Allison's been here.
Miss Allison,
Her
son.
son came here.
Gosh, we've had so many people. We had the lady with 8 kids. I can't remember her name, but she's got a channel now. But
Como,
anyway, I have a video
they're from
somewhere.
Tylertown.
Yeah, where she arrived in a van and the 8 kids got out and just lined up. I'm talking, I'm like, whoa. And they were so intelligent. They wrote down, they asked questions, they wrote down things. We
Yeah.
just did a farm tour, and we had a blast with all 8
We did.
kids. Very good, well-mannered kids.
We've had the lady that was over the Woofer program came here.
Yes.
She came here.
Took pictures, and we did do a woofer thing, tried it, but
Yeah.
it just didn't work out. We had one, well, actually we had a couple of good woofers.
We had some good woofers. Yeah.
We had Zoltan. We called him Zoltan. Now his name was Danny.
His name was
So
Danny.
I said,
but
I
we
can't have two
can't have two
Dannys.
Dannys. Yeah.
That's when Scratch Made come. We couldn't have 2 Dannys, so
Yeah.
he's D1 and Scratch Made is D2. When Zoltan came, he's a Danny also. So
Yeah.
we had a Danny, and he says, I want to be called Zoltan. So we called him Zoltan.
Yeah.
He was from Mexico, and he stayed here probably a couple of weeks.
On and off, he was here probably
Two
a month.
3 weeks, yeah.
And then I got him a job with a friend of mine, and he
Yeah.
spent a pretty good bit of time with him. Now, his dad comes here. Every time he comes from Mexico, his father
His
comes
father
to
comes
visit.
up and visits.
Yeah.
And Zoltan came a year and a half ago and visited
Yep.
one time. And
He was actually living in Arizona or somewhere at the time.
at the
Or
time
New
he
Mexico
came,
or somewhere
when
out
he
there.
was in the area, he come and
Yeah.
visited again. Then we had Matt.
Oh,
Matt was, if Matt come back and work for us full time, we would hire him. in a
I'd hire
heartbeat.
Matt. Now, Matt owned his own business, and he was a body man, doing car body work and stuff like that. And he realized that the shape that our country was in was getting worse, and he really didn't know where he wanted to live or what he wanted to do. And after he sold his business, he bought him a travel trailer, an Airstream, and a new truck. And he went around whooping for different people to learn what farming was all about and living on a homestead. I don't actually know where he's at right now, but his goal was to make a trip all the way around the whole United States and all through the United States, Canada, and everything, and to find out what all the climates were like, what the people were like, all this kind of stuff, so that he could determine where he wanted to settle down at and start homesteading.
Somebody's saying we're having some kind of farm drama in the chat. Is that a thing? I don't know. I didn't let my moderators know, so my moderators are probably fixing supper right about now. And if there's any problems in the chat,
this was a
Prep
spur
for
of,
Eternity is in here.
Prep for Eternity's in here. I've seen Miss Lippy's here.
Okay, so they are here.
They're all here.
If somebody's getting out of line, my moderators will handle it. But yeah, I'm sure there's something going on. We're trying not to read the chat too much.
Yeah, we don't want to get off key here, off topic, but we don't allow a lot of people to come here anymore, simply because of security reasons. And I know that's kind of hard to understand, but
C19 kind of put a...
Yeah, C19 put a stop to everything.
And then after that, we just kind of gotten used to not having people. We do have somebody come occasionally, and we do have somebody possibly coming this weekend to pick up, not Buddy, Kenny.
Kenny.
So we have times that, and there's reasons for people coming.
Yeah,
so,
I saw one on here that bought one of Miss Betty. I saw the person who bought Betty was on here a while ago.
Yeah, they've been here.
They've been here, yeah.
When we have reasons for people to come, and then there's some people that in the past, I have over the past couple of years that live here in Mississippi that have asked to come because they are trying to do things in Mississippi and would like to see the greenhouse or something, you know, specific. We have promised them a visit at some point when it's convenient for both of us. So there will be visitors occasionally, but it's not like we run
we don't just allow...
We're not an open day every day.
Because I'm usually gone. I mean, I'm gone a lot, and Wanda's gone a lot now to the other property, and, you know, we can't be here and there at the same time, and I'm trying to get fencing up and all that kind of stuff, and it's just it takes a lot of time. I mean, when you're taking a piece of raw property that hadn't been done anything with in 25 years, everything's overgrown, you got to start re-clearing and, you know, deciding where you want this at, where you want that at, and, you know, where we're going to run this fence, and we're trying to put a garden spot over there so that we can see how the soil is for growing and things of that nature. So we probably, you know, we're becoming more of a private life now than we are, you know, open like we were in the past.
Yeah. And that's where Pecan Grove comes in. Danny and I, for probably 3 or 4 years, way before COVID, had started looking for extra property. And as we had money over the last few years, y'all seen, we've done a lot here at Deep South. A lot.
A lot.
We started out, when we started the cabin, we spent the money we had saved buying the lumber to get it started. We didn't have any more. We stepped out on faith and we said, Lord, if we have the money, we'll build a cabin. We knew we would put the foundation. We already had the foundation. It sat there almost 2 years.
The foundation sat there for 2 years, yeah.
And when we bought the lumber, he said, we'll put this up and we'll have it framed in. He said, but it may sit here 2 or 3 years. And at that point, we had been doing YouTube probably 2 years, maybe close to 3. And our money was just at a standstill. I mean, maybe $600 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, $600, that's it.
That's a month. That's Social Security.
Yeah. And we weren't getting Social Security.
No.
He was turned down.
I was turned down for my disability 3 times.
We had saved, in the 3 years, we had saved enough money to buy the lumber for the cabin. And from that point, when we stepped out on faith, it's like God goes, okay, you've done your part, let me help you a little. And each month we'd get a little bit of extra money and we'd stick it up. And by the end of the time we got it framed, we had enough for the next process. And then by the time we got that done, we had enough for the next process.
Now the only way we could do that is the house was paid for, the land was paid for, the vehicles were paid for. We had cut our spending down to a very, minimal. We were getting by on like $300 to $350 a month on all of our bills.
And we didn't buy all this equipment that we have now.
No.
We used
We
a
had
little
cheap
dinky
little camera about this big.
And the only way we upgraded a camera was a company sent us the panels for a greenhouse. We thought they were joking. We did not know people actually sent products for you to try. And Danny contacted a company after watching Joe on Homesteadonomics, wasn't it?
Yeah, Joe on Homesteadonomics.
He built
No, I didn't contact the company. I just made a comment on his video.
That's right.
I said, man, in the deep south here, I'd love to try that because he's in a hot climate. I said, I'd love to try those panels here. Well, Parker
was for a
contacted me.
What was it called? What's the panels called?
Polycarbonate.
Yes, for polycarbonate panels for a greenhouse. And Danny just made a comment on Joe's on Homesteadonomics, and Parker contacted him, and he looked at me and he goes, "Is this email for real?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, they're scamming people going and coming.
Right.
He said, "But this guy is saying he will send me the panels if I can design a greenhouse." And so Danny sat down and sketched out a greenhouse.
I used to do architectural drawings, so I sat down and sketched out this greenhouse that would fit on the back of our barn, and it wasn't a huge one. It was only 10 by 20. But I told her, I said, let's just see how it goes. And I sent the plan to him, and he said, hey, I love this. I think it's a great idea. They sent us the panels and
the requirements.
And then they turned around and we took some pictures of it after I'd done it. And he said, look, he said, do you have a high quality camera of any kind? And I told him, I said, nope,
this.
This little camera about this big, that's it. So the company agreed to send us a Canon. A Canon T5?
TI5?
TI5, I believe it was. And he even told me, he asked me what direction the greenhouse was facing and all this stuff, and Parker even told me at what times of the day to take the pictures and from what angles to take the pictures from. And
we did that.
We did.
So we got our camera also for free.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. We used that camera for the next 3 years probably.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And
we still have it. Yeah.
It has a couple of issues, but we still have it. I toted that camera everywhere. At that point, we were doing videos every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes 2 and 3 videos because I had started Crazy Days, and he was doing All God's Children once every week or 2. And we used that camera for a long time.
We did.
And then I broke down and bought another camera. That's the one we're using now, and I think it's a Canon also.
It's a Canon.
It's a G7, I think, or something. I don't remember.
Like that, yeah.
And now I don't even tote that camera.
No.
I use my phone. I have a Samsung phone.
We just use the phone because the camera quality is so good on the phones now.
Yeah, it's perfect. It does really, really good. And so I use the phone. I took the phone now, and that's kind of how we got started. We put our faith first in one another. We both had to trust God when we met each other, let Him lead us, and we were really both scared and afraid of making the wrong choices, but
yes, Orphan Lady, they did put that greenhouse in the magazines. It was at
It was in Lowe's.
It was in Lowe's.
We didn't know about it till Quake Lake sent us something, and she goes, "Is this your greenhouse?" And I said, "Yeah, where did you get that picture?" And she said, "It's in Lowe's." And it was with the polycarbonate panels. Our greenhouse was there. It was in their in magazine articles.
It was in Mother Earth. It was in Mother Earth magazines.
Yeah.
It was in all kinds of magazines.
It didn't say anything about Deep South though.
No, because we sold our right, to it when we agreed to do it.
We sold them the pictures.
Yeah, we sold them the pictures.
Yeah, so it did not mention Deep South. We didn't have that even attached to it. But most people that knew us knew whose greenhouse it was.
Yeah, anybody who knew us knew whose it was.
And
it's still back there and still doing fine.
That's where we have the pineapples.
Yeah.
That's where we're pineapple farming. And
Prep for Eternity said they saw it in Lowe's too.
Yeah. Right now we're worried about the colds. I've put out 12 pineapples over at Pecan Grove.
Yep.
And I guess we got to figure out how we gonna salvage them because I'm not digging them up.
No, I mean, we're talking about we're going to get down to 29 degrees with a 12 to 14 mile an hour wind with higher gusts. Um, so, you know, it depends. One day we're going to go to freezing, the next day we're going to go below freezing, and then we're going to warm back up to 38, 39 degrees.
Yeah.
So
we're going to be.
We'll see how it goes.
Busy for the next couple of days getting things locked back down.
Well, as a matter of fact, and the rain today. I went out and put the plastic back on our greenhouses over the doors. I sealed off the greenhouses in the pouring down rain today because I ain't gonna sit in the house. I just am not. That's the reason I'm doing a live broadcast now because I'm sitting here. I told Wanda, I said, I'm going nuts. I said,
he said, I got to do something. Can we go live?
I even took time and drove over to the other property because I've really never been there since we.
When it's raining.
When it's raining and the work we done on the barn, I said, I need to go see if it's leaking, where water's at, and all this kind of stuff. So I spent my time driving over there. I had to take a shovel and do some digging around because water was going in just certain areas. And then I got soaking wet, and I turned around and drove back home. And I was like, then I got bored sitting here, went out and done the greenhouses. And I told her, I said, we got to do a live stream. We got to do something.
Well, with the pineapples, they're so big that a 5-gallon bucket won't fit over.
Oh, no, a 5-gallon bucket won't come close to fitting over them.
And Danny has like, what, an acre or better of corn?
It's
all up.
I've got 270-foot long rows. Let's put it that way.
And there's about 10 or 12 of them. And the corn's about this tall.
Corn's about 2 inches tall. But it's down in a furrow, so I don't know.
We've got some row cover. And we may try to row cover some of it, but with high winds, that stuff just goes all over, and we don't have hoops, 270 feet of hoops, so it's not possible. The potatoes are gorgeous. They're about a foot tall.
Oh, the potatoes are beautiful.
We don't want to lose them.
Oh, they're just
beautiful. So I don't know what we're going to do.
We've got tomatoes out. We got peppers out. We got to cover all that.
And then I have my stand-up and garden bed.
I forgot about that.
That's got to be covered. I've got little plants up, maybe an inch and a half tall, all over it. So I've got to figure out how to cover it. Maybe no taller than they are. I can throw some cardboard or something down and put something over it or something.
Yeah.
I think I can figure that one out. I should have saved the box.
Yes, milk and honey, you can plant tomatoes next to bell peppers. Tomatoes and peppers are both in the nightshade family. It is not a problem.
So that's pretty much our quick version of our story.
That's pretty much where we are. I mean,
God's blessed us over
God
the
has
last
been
3
so
years.
good to us. Yeah, He's been really, really good to us. We can't complain about that.
We managed to just really work hard, do what we needed to do here, and look for land. And Pecan Grove was our retirement land, I guess you would say. We knew that money may or may not be the best thing to have laying around all in the future, so Danny and I have been wanting to invest in stuff, and land was the only thing that we really were comfortable investing in.
Yeah, I'm all about investing.
So,
I always have been my whole life. I'm about putting your assets and your money into tangible assets. I don't believe in leaving money in banks and stuff like that because it's really not going to do you any good. So I believe in putting our finances into tangible objects, and that's why we have what we have. We invest in ourselves. There's a comment there. It says, can you talk more openly on Patreon channel about what is coming? The DOD, the Department of Defense, monitors all platforms. Y'all have to understand this. The Department of Defense monitors all platforms. There is no such thing as a platform that you can speak openly and freely on without coming under some sort of scrutiny or being put into a group that they watch constantly.
And Danny's already said so much over the years.
Yes.
And now we're watching other different channels are getting strikes for saying even the simplest stuff
of words. They're
that
striking
doesn't
them.
seem like it would even cause a problem.
Right.
We have to stay away from certain subjects because you can't say certain things. There's 3 or 4 different subjects that are really off limits right now that people have gotten strikes in the last month. We don't want our channel pulled.
No, I'm trying
We want to be able to garden.
Well,
we want to show you gardening, and all that stuff is on a million channels that probably will go away shortly.
yeah.
But there's people out there that are taking that chance. Danny and I are through taking chances. We're
we're not
a little.
Let's put it this way.
Simpler.
I don't comply very well. I never have. I wasn't trained to comply.
No.
But I try to use wisdom when doing videos and use riddles.
Mm-hmm.
But now AI is really intelligent. AI can figure a riddle out in a split second.
Especially if you use it over and over.
If you use that content
so
over and over.
So if you do this, meaning...
If I go over here and do this, AI figures that out instantly.
Because they're watching the videos and they're listening to your mouth. And if I, instead of the word kiss, if I didn't want to say kiss and I did this every time, after about 4 or 5 videos, AI's caught on to what I'm doing. And if they don't want the word kiss in there, they're going to ban me or they're striking me because they done figured out what I'm talking about. AI's crazy. Over on Patreon, we're doing mostly Pecan Grove videos because that's kind of personal. And that's where we wanted to go. Danny does, if he hears something, he will go on there. He will say what he has to say without using words they don't want. Because it's basically a YouTube video uploaded to Patreon. We just have a separate channel that I put that on so that those videos, if that channel gets something happened, it's not this channel.
Right.
And so we've actually tried to cover a few bases.
Now, because I have told the truth on so many things, we have been shadow banned by YouTube. So many people have contacted me and said, oh, I've been unsubscribed to you for months. I didn't even realize it. And I wondered where you went and all this kind of stuff. It's because we've been shadow banned. YouTube does not want people growing who's telling the truth. I mean, because we can go look at our analytics and it says we've gained this many subscribers and yet our subscriber thing never goes up. It's because they take away as many as we gain, and we just stand still. And we see other YouTube channels just blowing it out of the water, and I go, well, they don't talk about the stuff we talk about. They just strictly talk about homesteading or talk about gardening or something, and that's perfectly fine. But I have a calling from God to spread truth as much as I can, and I don't care if we don't grow any more than what we are. I mean, it doesn't bother us.
No.
We're happy to be where we are.
Yeah, we didn't think we'd ever make it past 100 subscribers. Right. But we don't want to say things that would purposely get us pulled. Danny says things in porch time, and he tries to keep them where you know what he's talking about without actually saying it. Porch time is Danny's time to just let all
look, guys, I wished I could just sit down and and we have people who's visited here with us before, and I'll tell them, if you want to talk to me, you got to take that cell phone, go put it in the truck out yonder, and we have to go way away from where we are, because I don't have a cell phone on me. I never do, hardly. And unless I'm by myself over at the other property, I have one that I carry over there just
in case he needs me.
In case I need her, I can turn it on and call her,
And they're asking about Freesteading. Okay, again, on Freesteading, you have to have a platform to upload a video, which is YouTube for us because I don't do all the other Vimeo and all that. So I still have to upload anything Danny says to YouTube.
Yes.
No matter what the channel, I have to upload it, then put it over on Freesteading. Freesteading is not its own platform to hold videos yet. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Twisted Pony.
So anything Danny says, if he says it, he would have to sit and type it out, or I'd have to sit and type it out, and that just ain't going to get it right now. I don't have time. But Freesteading in the future, is going to be the best way to keep up with each other. And if they can get where we can have videos over there, it would be awesome. It just takes a lot of bandwidth or whatever they said to handle a lot of videos. So right now you're still using a platform like YouTube. We did try, what was the other one? Brighteon.
Brighteon. We tried Brighteon.
In the early stages of Brighteon, we were over there. We put up several videos. Even got mentioned by Mike Adams a couple of times in some things. But we haven't been on Brighteon since the early stages of Brighteon. I just don't have time to upload much to YouTube, much less to all these other platforms.
Now that we have the other property and we're trying to actually get some things done over there, I'm having to leave Wanda here many times to take care of stuff here while I go there to take care of stuff. And it keeps us, we're used to being together all the time. We get more accomplished when we're together.
Yep.
And with us apart like that, it really does. She goes, Danny, I need videos. You know, I told her, I said, well, I'm over there. I can't be here, you know. And so she'll come with me sometimes in the mornings to shoot a video over there for Pecan Grove. And then she comes back home, which is double travel time on us, you know. But she comes back home and starts editing videos. She goes and takes care of the high tunnels here. You know, the gardens here. She takes care of all that while I'm over there trying to get that place taken care of. It's a little challenging. You know, I mean, if anybody knows what that's like, you could talk to Kevin and Sarah from Living Traditions, who are friends of ours. Kevin and Sarah will tell you, when you're trying to take care of two places, it gets to be a challenge sometimes, you know, especially when you're trying to get the other one, and it's been overgrown for so many years, you're trying to get it up and get it working. That's a big challenge to do.
And once we get we're moving some of the cows, not all the cows.
Yeah.
We're moving some of them over there. We've got some gardening. The gardening we're doing is not going to be massive. It is a big undertaking. It's a lot of area, but it's not something that we have to daily do something to once it gets up until we harvest. We can check it periodically, see that everything's okay. We can check the cows. It's not so far that we can't go daily and check. So that's a plus for us.
Yeah.
And we plan on doing our high tunnels here. We've got some gardening here. Again, the gardening we're doing in the ground is going to be things that we don't have to
very minimal time. Like we plant sweet potatoes over here, which you only plow them a couple of times, and then you just let them go. You know, you don't have to really do anything else to them. Over there, we have Irish potatoes planted, which you just plow them a couple of times, and you wait till harvest. We've got corn planted. You plow it a couple of times and fertilize it. After that, you just let nature take over. We got a few tomato plants to see how the soil will handle tomatoes and peppers, and we've got a few pineapples over there. We're experimenting with the soil types over there to see what grows. We've thrown a few cucumbers in the ground, you know, different things, just experimenting to see, you know, how the soil does over there versus over here.
Yeah, and you know, guys, I know y'all want Danny to tell you, but don't you already know what's happening?
Really?
I don't understand some days. I know y'all want his opinion, and he tries to do that on porch time and stuff, but it's time for y'all to buckle down, to put your faith in the Lord, and to say, look, it's time for me to quit worrying about what is going to happen and think about what is happening. Not what's going to happen, but what is happening.
Well, let's just put it this way. I started probably 4 years ago. When I got information 4 years ago what's coming, I started trying to warn people to get out of debt, to get better prepared. Well, we're at the point now, wherever you're at, that's where you're going to be. I'm going to just probably go ahead and tell you. It's too late. And I hate to sound blunt, and I hate to sound like there's no hope, but there is hope. You know, if
whatever state you're in now, I mean,
build on it.
Not state like not Mississippi.
Yeah, not like Mississippi, Arkansas.
Physical state,
your physical
mental
state.
Yeah. Prepare.
Start preparing now.
Your preparations for eternity.
Yeah.
Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't say tomorrow I might do this or whatever. Right now, make preparations for where you will spend your eternity. Because look, most of us have been raised in church and know that you aren't promised tomorrow.
Right.
And we want to live like we know we're going to live for the next 40, 50, 60, 70 years, according to how old you are.
Yeah, we don't have that long.
You know, Danny and I'd love to live the next 20, 30 years and be 100 years old. Not really, but maybe. No. Danny says, I don't think I want to be 100.
I don't want to live to be 100.
You have to live each day. And I think that's what Christ was saying. You have to learn to live each day and enjoy the day. And if you're caught up in what ifs and what might, you stay in the fear. And God didn't give us
God
fear.
never created fear. Fear comes from the devil. And the problem with all that's going on in the world today, and all these quote unquote people talking about all these disasters and catastrophes and stuff like that, they create anxiety in a lot of people. Now some people they don't. Some people they motivate.
Yeah, some people get high.
I know married couples who one of them thrives on knowing about what's going on. The other one just wants it in little snippets. The husband may thrive on it, and the wife says, "Look, just give it to me a little at a time." Or the wife may thrive on it, and the husband says, "Just give it to me a little at a time."
And Danny and I are kind of like that.
Yeah.
When we married, I told him he was big at time prepper and all this stuff, and I said, "Look, I prepped for a while, but I don't want to live this way. I don't want to live in fear," is what I told him.
Yeah.
I said, "I don't mind canning. I don't mind preserving and cooking. I don't mind buying 5 bags of sugar and putting it up every week." I said, that stuff don't bother me. I said, all this stuff where it's talking about what might happen. I said, I read the Bible. I studied Revelation for many years. I said, I know what's going to happen. I said, but I don't want to dwell on that. As I wanted to take day to day what's happening.
Well, what did Christ say? Thank you, Twisted Ponies. Christ said, "I came that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly." And then in Matthew 24, when you read about all the things he talks about there, you have wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, famines, pestilences, and all this stuff. He says, all these things must come to pass. But don't be concerned about it. Don't let it bother you.
Nadia, we will be praying for you. She's got to take her husband to the hospital.
Okay. We will pray for you, But these are things that's got to happen. And look, the ones that's opening the seals is Christ. The one's going to open up that little book that nobody has the ability to open. When it was a silence in the space of 30 minutes in heaven, everything's just sitting there, everybody's waiting for this book to be opened. And finally the Lamb comes forth to open the book. Guys, as long as Jesus or Yeshua, Yahushua, whatever dialect you want to use, is opening the books, I'm not concerned. I belong to him. And if he is doing the book opening and he's sending the horsemen, he's doing this. And by the way, we're probably at the number 4 horseman, to be honest with you.
Just throw
guys,
that tidbit in.
Let's throw that little tidbit in there. I'm going to tell you, I'm not concerned. Now, I am concerned for my children and my grandchildren, but I've lived my life. I'm ready for the upper taker. I'm not worried about the undertaker. I'm ready for the upper taker. I'm ready to go home.
And so we are trying to show you guys it is okay to live your life. We just bought land in a time when we think, things could get really bad really quickly. Financially, whatever. Things coming from outer space, water events, there's all this stuff. The sun doing weird stuff. The ground doesn't grow very well. We've got trees loaded down. Blooms, fruit, you name it. We can't do anything about 20-foot trees.
No.
We can't cover them.
No.
So if a freeze comes, we lose it all. But we can't help that. With whatever God gives us, whatever he provides, that's what we eat. And today we harvested potatoes. What did we harvest? Carrots, cabbage, lettuce, a tomato,
Yeah. We harvested
a
rutabaga.
I have some mulberries off my tree. That's what we are eating. Not everything. We still have some meat from one of our cows. We have some pork from the pigs.
Thank you, Becky.
We have chicken. We have turkey. We have all kinds of things still in the freezer or in jars. We have vegetables like green beans and peas and butter peas and things in jars. We have fruits from last year. If we don't get any fruits, we still have some in jars and some freeze dried that we can eat.
Yeah.
God has provided well for us. And will we starve? We may not have everything we want, but that's where y'all need to be. You may not have everything you want, but if you have something.
First thing you got to realize is you can't prep for everything to be like it is now.
Let me check something.
Because right now, everybody wants to prepare to have air conditioning because they like. Well, we get constantly asked this question: does your solar system? Can you run your deep freezes? Can you run your refrigerators? Can you run your AC? Can you run your heat and all this kind of stuff? And the answer is no. Because when it happens, all that stuff will be totally useless. Okay? It's going to be totally useless. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and tell you solar is probably going to be totally useless. We're probably going to be cast back into I can't say we won't have some form of internet and phone system and 5G and all that kind of stuff because the beast system has to have that stuff in order to be able to operate. So we have to realize that we're going to be under some sort of a rulership with our currencies more than likely going to go digital here before long. I mean, it's going to go to a crypto system. As a matter of fact, it's already been created. It's already in the motion. They're just waiting for the right moment to bring it to fruition. We are fixing to face some water events. I will tell you that. I mean, guys, oh, you got me some water. Thank you. My throat's getting dry.
I thought we'd be through. My oven was through. I had to go stop the oven.
Okay. Oh, we got some apple cider vinegar in that. I love that.
But, yeah, so according to the Bible, you know things are going to happen.
Yeah, the Bible
when
tells us.
When they're going to happen, we don't know. But
well, the Bible says you'll know
the seasons.
The seasons. Now, it doesn't tell us we'll know the exact dates. But, I mean, let me tell you this. They're already grooming people for specific things in the beast system. So just be aware of that. Those people are already being groomed. I'm not going to sit here and call names or anything like that because that is totally incoherent right now. But the issue is there's some massive things fixing to happen on the West Coast. There's some massive things fixing to happen in the central United States. There's all these events that's projected to happen here. Going to be some events going to take place probably by midsummer this year. You know what I mean? So
and it won't. It's not like
everybody's going to die.
No.
You may wish you were dead, but you're not going to die.
Some of these pundits take it. I say pundits. You know, different channels different newscasts make you think that we're all going to die. And Danny's wanted to do a video called "We're All Gonna Die."
Yeah, I've told Wanda forever I've wanted to do this video and come on and go, "We're all going to die," you know. And Wanda goes, "No, you're not going to do that." After I says, "I want to do that video so bad," you know.
But we are all gonna die.
Sure, we're all gonna die.
Which way? How? We don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, why does it make a difference whether you die tomorrow in a car accident, you live to be 100 and die in a flood, or you are 75 and your house catches on fire? I mean, why do you want to know those things?
Well, Randy says if a CME that came off the sun the other day had been sent out towards the earth, we would be back in the Stone Age right now.
Exactly.
Really, it's not about whether a CME is an X flare, an M flare, or whatever it is. It's about polarity. I mean, once you understand how polarity works with the earth, the geomagnetic systems in the earth work, it's all about polarity. You can have a very minute CME come off the sun, But if it's polarized just right with the earth, it'll burn up everything here. You know?
Hey, Sue says the "we all gonna die" needs to be on a Wednesday.
Oh, it needs to be on a hump day? It needs to be on hump day.
Oh, but I mean, literally, people are scared to death of dying, and they shouldn't be. God did not give you the spirit of fear.
No.
If you
No,
know
I mean, I don't want to die.
I
I
don't want to die. I don't want to be in pain.
That's not humanly. It's not in our spiritual makeup to want to die.
But I don't like pain. I guess over anything else, I am one that does not like pain. And I went through 3 home births. So to know that I can do that, I can handle some things. But I don't like pain, and I don't like the idea of dying. But we all are going to die. I came to that realization when I was 23. Yeah. And since that time, I put my faith in the Lord. Wherever I go, whatever I do, it's amazing.
Jennifer, I like what Jennifer said there. Jennifer Ann Fox, she says, we could make a T-shirt that says that. We're all going to die. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We are.
Yeah.
I mean, why beat around the bush anymore? People want honesty.
Yeah.
Not everybody will make it. If there was a power failure in our town and we had no power for, say, 6 months for whatever reason, in 6 months, the people in our town do a couple of 3 things. Number 1, they move. They leave because there's no power and there's power somewhere else. If not, then they stay. Some of them's going to die because they don't have what they need to survive. If they just literally cannot move, they might die. And then you're going to have some that's going to make it. They're going to say, Lord, give me the strength, give me the food, give me the know-how.
Yeah.
And that's where Danny and I were talking this week. It's all about mind. When you look at somebody and you've got the Lord here and you say, Lord, you can help me through this situation.
Yeah.
You can make it through anything, no matter if it's cancer, a divorce, a death of a spouse, whatever it is, that's how you make it through it. And whatever's coming, no matter what it is, whether it's water, fire, CMEs, or simply a banking failure, you lose your job, whatever, all you got to do is have faith and make it through it. That's mind is it.
Rhonda, yes, if everything goes all right, we will be on tomorrow night. If we get everything at Pecan Grove taken care of, we got a lot of covering up to do and everything before the freeze and all. So it just,
You're either gonna die or fly. That's it.
That's it. You'll die or fly. That's it. That's the way we look at it. I'm looking up because the Bible teaches us that our redemption is drawing nigh. Believe me, it's getting closer than you think.
Yeah. And so, guys, prepare in any way you can. And for all you Mississippi people, let me just tell you, Fulmer's Farmstead is doing a CSA. Plus, I think they'll sell vegetables at their farmstead. But Fulmer's is in, what's it called? Richton, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's in Richton, Mississippi.
So all of you that are looking for places that have fresh veggies, if you're anywhere near Richton, Mississippi, check out Fulmer's Farmstead. And as I find these places, I will let y'all know. We have a place on the coast that does sales of vegetables, and we have one in Loosedale. What's it called? Charlie's.
You pick it.
Yeah. So.
Ann Baker says, "I'll fly away, oh glory."
I love that song.
Yep.
It's one of my favorites.
One of our favorites. That's right. I ain't never seen a U-Haul pulling a hearse either, or a hearse pulling a U-Haul. However you want to say it. Yeah. You ain't taking nothing with you. You came here with nothing, and you're leaving with nothing.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's not true.
Really?
That is not true. You did come here with nothing.
Yep. I know where you're going.
But you can leave with your children. It is your responsibility to lead your children to the Lord. Mm-hmm. So yes, you can take something with you when you leave. You can take your children to heaven with you if you raise them right. Yes. That is a
good thought.
That is a misquote by the devil.
Yeah.
You came with nothing, you leave with nothing is not true.
You can take
your family with you.
And,
yes.
We'd love to see all of y'all.
I'd love to meet it. I would love to sit down by the river with the 12 trees that have the 12 different types of fruit on them. The leaves are for the healing of the nations. I'd love to sit down by that river that flows out from under the throne of God and carry on a conversation with each and every one of you. And let's just sit down and or I'd like to meet you at the marriage supper. You know, whichever one we meet at, I want to be able to meet each and every one of y'all. And I want to be able to sit down and I want to say, man, I'm so glad we got to meet each other online. But now we get to meet each other face to face. I mean,
kind of like Danny and I did.
Kind of like Wanda and I.
We're going to line this up.
Yep.
Kind of like us. We met online. Now, I don't recommend
No, I don't recommend it.
It's not exactly, but a lot of people do. And we've had people in the chat say they met online. And a lot of people, that's how they meet. Be very selective and talk to people a lot before you actually meet and just... Like I said, we talked 2 weeks before we met the first time, and we talked 2 weeks more before we met the second time. It was a time of just talking. So a lot of you guys, I have talked to some of these ladies online for years and not ever met them in person. Some of them I've FaceTimed or Zoomed, but not ever they've been in my home. But I get to know them that way. And there's a lot of them that I hope we'll meet on the other side. I just hope to see you in heaven. And so I guess as we wind it down.
Yeah, as we wind it down. We got supper going here. We got to get up from here.
I got fresh veggies.
Yeah.
So I think tonight, if you want to say a prayer, and we will pray for, I forgot. Nadia's husband. I was trying.
She was trying to take him to the hospital.
Yeah. We want to remember that and all the people that have asked for prayers that need healing, need a direction. I saw several that are asking directions. We can't give you the direction.
I can't give you directions, and I will not give you financial advice, even though I have been a financial advisor for people. I will not do that. You have to make up your own decisions. You have to make your own mind up, and that's between you and God. You got to go before the throne, and you got to say, Lord, this is where I'm at. What do you want me to do?
And if you have an open mind and you are close to the Lord, He will show you.
Yeah, when it comes to something like this, you got to throw everything out the window that you've ever been taught. And you've got to open your mind up to the Holy Spirit.
Not to other people either.
Not to other people and their opinions, not even my opinion. Just only whatever Christ lays on your heart, that is what He wants you to do. And remember, the will of God is easy. It's never hard. And you need to definitely seek out what the Lord wants for you to do, because I'm telling you, the time and the window, you know, we had a big window of opportunity. Now we're down to about like this right here. And that window is closing very rapidly on being able to do anything about what's going on.
And let me ask you this. If you knew that next week a major catastrophe was going to hit your city, hit your house, whatever, what would you do?
What would you do?
Would you make the preparations you need before that happens? Would you make it right with your Lord? Would you prep enough to have someplace else to go? Or would you stay till it happened? I mean, what would you do if you knew, say a meteorite was going to hit your house next Wednesday at 2 o'clock? You have to get that specific. What would I do? Y'all all want to know what's going to happen, but do you really want to know next Wednesday at 2 o'clock a meteorite's going to hit your house?
Right.
You got to think like that and prepare now. Don't say I'll do it tomorrow. You might not have tomorrow, because we don't know, the meteorite might hit your house tonight, you know?
Yeah, you got to prepare like today is your last day. Literally. I live every day like it's my last.
Because he is in a lot of pain. And is his pain going to kill him? Probably not. But he doesn't know what might be internal that might, and you don't either. I mean, right. They tell him he has a perfect heart, but he has problems all the time. So sometimes people have heart attacks.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know that that might be something, and the doctors just hadn't found it because, you know, they just hadn't found it. So we live each day knowing it could be our last.
Yeah.
And that's why we came on here today to talk about our faith, where we're at in our life, where we're going. We hope to be able to continue with Deep South.
Yep.
We are doing Pecan Grove over on Patreon. That will be in limited doses. We will put some pictures on, and some of the gardening might come over here on Deep South, because we did do the corn, and we're going to show that part of the gardening part, because that is part of what Deep South's doing, is gardening. But other than that, we're just going to start living privately, enjoying the day like Danny and I have been doing. We've been going over there working on things over there for almost 3 months now. And I think we've both come to the realization that we are feeling freer than we've ever felt in our lives.
Yeah, we are.
And
yeah.
So
Jonathan says, what are you in pain with and what's wrong? Jonathan, because of different missions and circumstances in my life, I've been broken all to pieces. Literally, anyone who knows my past and has heard me tell my story, I was in such bad shape one time, they had to fly a doctor in that put oil field rig explosion people back together, and he had to literally put me back together. One of my legs is longer than the other one, or shorter than the other one. One of my shoulders is an inch lower than the other one. Both collarbones have been broken. I mean, every bone in my
his
body.
Life, he's had many accidents.
I've had so many accidents. I mean,
and he's not accident prone.
And I'm not accident prone. I mean, well, you can ask Wanda. I was up on top of a roof the other day, still running 2x4s, running up and down them.
He's very stable and steady, but there's been things in his life that have happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has lots of pains. He's had things with his heart, and he has many kidney stones throughout the years, and still possibly one now. And so there's lots of things. He's messed his knee up recently in the last year and a half, and so the knee has healed, but he still can't use it to its fullest extent. We did not have surgery, just let it heal, and so that's part of it. But we need to get off of here, guys.
Yeah, we gotta get off here. We gotta get ready to go eat, guys. It's been a I got wet a while ago. I got to get good and dried off here anyway.
Fix your hair.
Ms. Wanda's always worried about my hair. I told her, I says, I'm just glad to have it. I don't worry about it. I'm just glad to have it. Because it's going away. You see that? It's disappearing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. Anyway, Father, we thank you tonight. We love you and we appreciate you. And Lord, I pray for Ms. Nadia's husband, and she had to take him to the hospital. Lord, I pray that all turns out well there. I pray it's just nothing. You know, it's one of them things that you just had a scare for a moment there, Lord. There's nothing to be concerned about. And Father, as many of the others there, I've seen just tons of requests going by. People need direction, Lord. People need to know direction. They need to know your will, Father. I can't tell people what your will is for their life. That's something that's personal. It's between you and them. And I pray that they'll get down on their knees or however the posture that they choose, Lord, and that they will consult you and they will try to find out what your will for their life is. And Lord, that they'll be open-minded about it and say, hey, if God says do this, we'll do this. If God says do that, we'll do that. And not fret about tomorrow or what the next day has to bring. And there's people that's ill, people that's sick, people living in pain. Father, and I just pray that we can find some relief without heavy medications, Father, and that type of stuff. Be able to learn to train our minds that that pain can be dealt with and without the use of heavy medications, Lord. And Father, I just think about the condition that our country's in, and it's not good. I would love to be able to sit down and express things with people, Father, but the platforms don't actually permit that. And I ask that all the people who have questions tonight about events and things that may happen, Lord, all the person's got to do is just go to you and say, Father, open my eyes, give me eyes to see and ears to hear what may happen in the near future, so that I might be better prepared for it and might be able to help my family. And Lord, you will show them. You've always been good to me. You've always revealed things to me. And if a person's honest and wants to know for the right reason, like it says in James, we have not because we ask not, because when we ask amiss. And many people ask for the wrong reasons. And God, I know you're not going to answer a question when someone asks for the wrong reasons. But those that are legitimate, Father, give them their request. Father, go with us through the night. Help us to be able to rest comfortable. I pray that you'll protect everyone's plants from this hard freeze and this Arctic blast that's coming. Lord, we know that, well, I can't really go into why it's coming, but Lord, I just pray that that everyone's plants and their fruit trees and all that will pull through it and do okay, Lord. I just want to let you know we love you, we appreciate you, and ask that you forgive us where we failed you. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Woo! All right. Now, it's about grub time.
Yes.
Yeah, we usually eat about an hour ago.
But we're on different times now, so we're kind of trying to get used to a little bit later so we can get things done. But guys, we just wanted to jump on and kind of tell you a little bit about what we do, what we've done throughout the years, how we've come from just meeting,
Yep.
getting on YouTube, and where we're going in the future with Deep South and Pecan Grove. You know, we do things different from most people. I don't know. This is kind of hard to tell you, but
Yeah.
we pray for all of you.
We
We
do.
know that you have questions. We try to answer. I mean, I try to do emails as much as possible. Don't get your feelings hurt if I don't answer all of them. But Danny and I do what we can.
Nostradamus says, I was rude. I ate in front of y'all tonight. Well, thank the good Lord I did not
Well,
see you.
I drank in front of
We
you.
were drinking
Water.
agua,
And
Bibiragua.
and so, you know, we try to answer as much as we can in live streams. Tomorrow night is for fruits and vegetables
and gardening and all
that
tomorrow
stuff.
night. You know, that's all.
We'll do what the best we can. We may not know it all, but we'll help maybe where we can, and y'all might get a little something out of it. But today we wanted you to know a little bit about Danny and Wanda.
Yeah, we just want to share
Because
our
we have
life with
so
you.
many new people that don't go back.
That's
and watch old
true. That's
videos.
true.
And y'all, we only have 3,000 plus videos, so y'all feel free anytime to go back and watch all those videos.
Yeah, just go check out. If you don't know our past history, all you do is go back and look at the old videos.
Yeah.
Because I explain everything.
Yes, we do.
Oh, do we get an extra tip today? Oh, my word. I hadn't even thought about that. But, you know, I can tell you this much. It's time to get everything in order. Okay? That's going to be my tip for tonight. It's time to get everything in order.
And do we feel like this is the end of the world?
No, it's not the end of the world.
We just feel like people are fixing to go through, first, this cold spell.
Yes.
California's going through water. Before long, it may be other states hitting water.
There's going to be some other states, yeah.
We feel like this summer it's going to be drought and heavy, heavy heat. Oh,
the heat this
the
summer
heat's
is going to be...
probably going to be rough.
Yeah.
Is there another pandemic? Who knows? But they keep talking about it, so yeah, probably in the future that's going to be part of it. We also know that there's something going by the Earth, you know. We know about that.
We know about that. We know about the magnetic poles.
They're also mentioning aliens.
You're going to start seeing...
Which are not aliens,
yeah,
but...
They're technically not aliens, but
you're fixing to hear that a lot. That's fixing to be your next buzzword. And you got to watch probably every YouTube channel out there is fixing to start throwing that at you.
They're going to start throwing you aliens. They're going to start throwing you UFOs. They're going to start throwing you banks.
The bank stuff is
all that's fixing to become a big deal. You'll start seeing more about what's going on across the pond over there. I'm serious when I tell you to get things in order. Literally, I'm not kidding. This is one time. You need to
be prepared for anything. That's pretty much the thought. Be prepared. Number one, with your salvation. Number two, for anything, and don't take things at face. Newscaster might say,
don't believe anything you see on TV.
Research it yourself, and don't believe Google for the most part.
No, gosh, no.
They are really pushing an agenda.
The gatekeepers have
Go to the Lord and
Yeah.
say, look,
Taking
open
care of
my
that.
eyes. Show
Yeah.
me what is the truth. Because I don't think Danny's even seen this, but Tucker Carlson interviewed a young man.
no, because I don't watch Tucker Carlson. I don't know.
But I mean, he interviewed a young man, and I don't know what day it was or anything like this, but I saw it on another channel. It wasn't even Tucker's channel. And the young man, Tucker was asking him questions and stuff, and he was blowing and going and telling him all kinds of stuff, and Tucker caught on. And he realized this guy was lying to him up one side and down the other. And this young guy had been on every newscaster, NBC, ABC, all these big things, and told lies. And every one of them believed it, and they tweeted it, and they sent it out, and they had other people telling it. And Tucker got to laughing at him because every time he talked, he was telling lies. And he was doing it on purpose to prove the media was lying, would take a lie and run with it. And they were taking his lies and making them truths without fact checking.
Yeah, whatever. I don't watch it.
So y'all be
know.
careful. Yeah.
I just know that if you see something on TV in the news, it's not real.
It's a half truth.
It is how shall I put this? Because I've been involved in this, PSYOP. A lot of it is PSYOPs, okay?
Yeah.
You kind of get a half truth. It's partial truth, but it's still a lie. And it leads you into believing specific things when actually it's really not. So
Yeah, see, somebody else said they watched it. Don't believe everything on YouTube either. Even if Danny and I say it.
Yeah,
check it.
Even if I tell you, go check it. Okay? Yeah. I'm not perfect.
And Danny will say something sometimes and mix a fact up just a little, not on purpose, but like he may say it was Daniel in the Bible and it might have been David. The names might get twisted, but he don't do it on purpose. When he's talking and things are coming.
Yeah. When the Spirit's throwing it, I got to go with it.
Yeah. Know? So don't jump his case if something seems out of place or something, because when he's going, sometimes a word gets interchanged.
Yeah.
And I try to catch it in editing.
Usually Wanda catches it in
but
editing.
I don't always, and there's things in our editing that don't get edited out that should sometimes.
Yeah.
But guys,
actually, Nope says don't believe anything you hear and half of what you see these days. Actually, what you're fixing to see, you can't believe either, because there are fixing to be things that you're going to see that's going to challenge your faith.
Yeah.
I got to leave it at that. It's going to challenge your faith. That's why I tell you, build your faith. If you don't do anything else, build your faith. Forget about everything you've ever been taught religiously. Keep an open mind, not to worldly things. Keep your mind on Christ. Focus on Christ only, because the world is fixing to throw some things at us that's going to challenge your Christianity. It's going to challenge your past beliefs. It's going to make you question anything that you've ever been taught.
And they're already doing that.
And I have to leave it at that. I can't.
Religions are already making Christians. People I knew were grounded Christians, not necessarily in a faith, but grounded Christians. You don't have to be Baptist. You don't have to be Catholic. You don't have to be Presbyterian.
It don't matter about that.
But to know grounded Christians that know they have a relationship. There's religions out there now that are making them question whether they're right. And so, guys, hang on. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith, guys. We got to get out of here. We got to go eat. Our stuff's about ready. Down here first. Okay. We'll see you later, guys.